paid $1,000 to use the hall?
No, I think $1,000 was a deposit for
For the bat.
For the bat.
Right.
Who rented this?
No, I saw this and it made me think of the fireworks company.
Yeah, it's not before us.
Because the
right
Michigan
now.
Pyros are the ones that cost us all the grief in December,
Right.
not Wolverine.
But
But I'm just asking where the paperwork is,
if they
because
were.
I would think we'd be giving them their money back now.
Right, but did you
We
even,
will, but we don't give their money back until we get a thing from Gary. So as soon as he turns that in,
Right.
We'll
When he gets
receive it
done,
and
when he
then
gets
cut
this
check.
part of the paperwork done, then we give them their money back. That's what this is. It's
So
not coming back
they
to
won't
us.
get their money back for another month then.
but did we just hold that check though?
I still have it, but we can receipt it and
Yeah.
cut a check.
Well, I just want to
As soon
make
as
sure
Gary turns in the paper.
that, there's the trail, that someone's gonna say down the road, we didn't have a paper trail, that's all.
Okay, postage
Yeah.
for taxes.
Yeah, summer tax bills already. God, I love it.
So nobody knows off the top of their heads what they paid for renting the hall. Because I know for like graduation parties, it's a lower amount as compared to a wedding reception.
Well, I can get the
This is like the
paperwork.
20th reunion, and this is still $1,000 that was charged, so I'm just kind of curious.
Yeah, it
what
was,
based.
that was on a Saturday
Okay.
night,
Okay.
and we had security.
All that good stuff. I get there's extra contingencies, I just was curious what it was based upon when the amount was set. because
I
don't-
agree there should be more clear cut what,
It'd be a lot easier, right, if we had
Yeah.
something we could go to, but if it was a discounted rate, other than what has been approved by the board as far as that list, then it would have to come before the board to get it approved by the board to give them a discounted rate. It can't just be a, oh, hey, we can't do it
But I
that
think
way.
that they probably are just still paying the same rate they have for years.
Wow, I don't pay the same rate I paid for anything for years.
I know, I don't know. I
I
mean,
mean,
I don't know, I'm just saying, that's
well,
possible.
Well, but
that
it has to be
that's
based
why-
on something. It has to be based upon an approved schedule of charges, or it has to come before the board to get approval for a reduced rate, like we do for the charitable stuff, for the spaghetti dinners, that kind of thing. It has to come before us, the request that we give them a discounted rate. So I'm just curious what that was based on.
Dues.
Fire department dues to the county or something. Says only 100, but then it says,
We only paid them 100.
yeah, but then it says here, 5.
Bill,
Well, how does that?
Jim wrote on there, pay 100.
Well, no, I
Yeah.
see that.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to, are they gonna come back to us for remaining $400 or something?
I
'Cause
think
it
that,
says it's $500 to $600 normal, but then it says 100, I don't know what it means.
This Michigan Lakefront Solutions is
Hawthorne River. Hawthorne River.
So, for this MOD, this is obviously a bill from way back on February 17th, and we had 5 hours of guards. And was this the one that was the precursor for us making that change for an additional fee if they're not out in time and we have security staying later? Is that same one, or was this after that? I just don't remember the timeline.
That'd be pretty close.
Used to be for 4 hours of security.
Well, we got billed for 5 hours.
I know, I've just seen that.
It's not in there, I already looked through them.
No, I'm looking to see what it says about the amount of time.
I think it's
Bar closes. Four hours of security is included in your rental price. If more than 4 hours of security is needed, renter pays additional $23 per guard.
So whoever had the hall on February 17th depending on the date that we made that change. This may have been the impetus for us to make the change. I don't remember because it's way back in February. But whoever rented it on February 17th would have to be charged an extra $46 if that was the case. I just don't remember what the
Is that an
timing
extra
was.
$46 a month?
Well,
There, it's 5 hours, but
So
this
that's
says you only
23
get 4 hours.
yeah, 23
So
per
it costs you
guard
a
is
total of
$2.
$46 more for that extra hour.
So you
Yeah.
wanna deduct that from there?
From whoever
We
that
would
is
need
on that
to,
day.
But I don't know who it was, because neither of these that are in front of us was February 17th, so we may have
We already given
passed
the
it
money back.
through. So, but again, I don't remember if this is what caused us to make that change on February 17th, or if it was after we made the change.
No, because this
I don't
has a
remember.
date of 7/10/23.
It wasn't that far back.
It says 7/10.
Time flies.
That's when they paid their deposit and signed the contract.
No,
No.
this is the printed
This
date.
document was modified on 7/10/23. That's when
probably what it
this
was.
line was added.
Oh.
It doesn't seem like it was that
No,
long
it does
ago.
not.
So, if that's the case.
We have to look in the minutes for the month of July of last year.
And if that's the case, though, if they're billing us so late for security, we're never gonna catch it in time.
And we gave all the
We
money
get the
back.
deposit back.
Right, and he normally doesn't wait that long.
Yeah,
But
'cause
he
he's-
must have been checking into something and he called and said,
Well, we had a lot of problems, I think, back the first of the year last
They
year.
weren't showing up.
They weren't showing up.
Right. So I guess since we have voted to put that in, that they have to pay for the excess, maybe we need to have a conversation with him and say, you know, we need to be getting these bills every month for whatever security you did so that we can charge them back if you charge us extra.
I actually have an idea that we put a binder similar to this in the bar. And when security gets here, we make them sign in. And when they leave, they sign out. And if we did that, then we would automatically know if they were here more than 4 hours. And then we can make sure we're not giving away money.
Who determines how long they're here?
That contract says 4 hours.
Well,
So-
the people do it because they can't leave until the hall's empty.
Because alcohol, from the time they get here at 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock, whatever the time is, until they leave the building. So if they're here for 5 hours,
They can't leave until the building is secure. That's one of the agreements we have with them.
Well, maybe that's something that we need to have a discussion about then to make sure that.
well,
that
and
we're
we
not
can
getting
call
billed
him and
extra.
say, hey, you know, let's do something about this hour because this
Yeah.
is so far behind, we have no recourse now.
Exactly. But
yeah, we have no
obviously, we need
recourse,
to kind of
but,
clean that process up, especially if we're only billing them for 4 hours,
Yeah.
I mean, do
And
they
he
sometimes
has been-
arrive
They have been
early?
showing up.
What?
They have been showing up.
Well, I think, yeah, for the last couple, for the, yeah.
Yeah, we have-
Well, these
Tell us
two, this
if they
year.
Show up. And Gary's been keeping on top of it pretty close with them because
Because
of
of
what
the
happened
problems.
before, yeah.
Well, we might need that.
I think a logbook's the right idea though. Because then you know, they're here, they sign in, they sign out. Put the time next to it. Any company that you go to work for, even on my county contract, they want to know when I got there and when I left.
Well, if worst come to worst, he can at least call us the next day and say, hey, we had to be there for 5 hours.
That Pinconning Journal. Oh, I'm behind the page, that's what the problem is.
What is this Eagle permit?
I'll call it rubber chemical spray,
Oh, for the.
algicide.
It's an
Okay.
annual.
This is the bathroom at the scenic park.
Mhm. We watch them fill their trucks up in Linwood. It's $3.69 a gallon for fuel.
This runs a month behind. So 369 shouldn't show up till next month. That's 390 something, but it'll probably be back to 390. I think it was,
I was paying $333 and it was $385 down.
for diesel?
For Bridgeport it was $385.
I know, well, they can't run the Bridgeport to fill the trash trucks.
Well, you'd be surprised where these trucks are coming from. Because they're actually coming from down that way, they don't park them up here. But I do see them fill up in Linwood too. So, 3.
Is that other bill in here, or just this one? The one I handed you.
Oh, I have the other copy. It's just a copy.
Did you pay part of this bill?
No.
Oh. So this bill here, you didn't pay last month,
Correct.
but this bill has the postage and everything on it for this review.
Mm-hmm.
And this little survey thing here that you think I should pay for, I'll be perfectly honest with you, I checked.
I think you should pay for it?
It was on the bill I had.
Was
in my
that what I
hand.
said?
If you wanted clarification on it. But I checked
Oh,
with our attorney
it's
and.
formatting, is what the question was.
That's formatting.
The actual verbiage, it's not about the survey, you're not paying for the survey. We approved 20 questions, and
We
I think
approved
we
to
sent
do
out,
the survey.
yeah, with 20 questions on it.
The same questions that were on before. We didn't agree as a board to do additional questions, which
I
were,
got approval from, because that's not what you said in the minutes.
well, the minutes are not exactly what was said, and I did.
So the-
I
approve
got the
that.
tape, and
So
that's
the-
not what you said, and so I could have added 50 questions to that if I wanted to,
Without board approval.
without board approval.
I don't think that that's accurate,
As
because
a
right when
legal
we were in
agent-
here, I said that'll be the same questions as the last survey, and you said yes. And then when the planning commission passed it, they specifically said in their motion that it would be the same questions that were used before. Specifically said that. So when you added questions, you basically not only didn't get board approval to add those questions, you didn't even notify anybody in the board that you were contemplating adding those questions. We found out when the survey came out. You can't act unilaterally like that. Both times that it was brought up by the planning commission and by our board, it was explicitly stated to use the same questions, not to add questions.
That might be your interpretation, but that's not what was said on the tape. So,
I know in the PC what was said,
Absolutely.
but I guess here's the deal. It goes right back to the same thing. And it's been said, the people have said it, we're all trustees, we're supposed to keep each other informed. That's all. You know what? If we are all talking about what's happening around here, people see unity. And if we're not talking about what's happening around here, they see dictatorship. And we are not a dictatorship. We are a democracy. When it comes to this board, Robert's Rule of Order, and that's how we're supposed to function. And it's not like, well, I know I talked to somebody. No. You know, I try to come in and talk to you about stuff, and I think we do fairly good at that. But, you know, it's like there's this wall. And if we want a wall, that's exactly what the people are seeing, and that's exactly what's pissing everybody off, to put it real blunt. You can do what you want, because you do. But there's a problem with that. Our actions will always have consequences.
yes, yours will.
And yours as well, young man.
We'll see.
So the problem is that those questions
It's
that were
election year.
Elections have consequences.
Wow.
Because you gotta remember one thing, Sam. No matter what, I am always gonna be Reverend Campbell and Charlie Chaplin for the American Legion. No matter what. I'm involved in this because of what happened with my son and no other reason. And that was uncalled for. And that was a lack of communication. And our sexton at the time did wrong. And then it was covered up. And that was wrong. okay? And you can say it's the past. You're right, it's the past. But I'm here to make sure that
Did you
doesn't
have control of
continue.
the cemetery for a year? Why didn't you fix it?
You know what? It wasn't knowing that that happened until we went to document where the bodies were, and I had things handed to me to read. So don't even go there.
So, that said, back to the survey questions. The problem with the survey questions is that the way they were formatted didn't give any context to anybody that was answering them. It was basically to try to make a point, but do we need more? Well, you were trying to ask a question related to, obviously, the long-term lawsuits. But the people didn't know that. They didn't know what you were asking. It's kind of like asking a question of how many days a week do you beat your wife? You can't ask that kind of a question without context. So had this actually been brought to the board that you wanted to add those questions, we could have had that conversation about how to properly word it if the board agreed to put those questions in. But instead, it was done quietly, and nobody was made aware of
It was a
it.
simple question.
It was not a simple question. Have you ever written a measure before? Because I kind of doubt you have. If you've actually written a measure, you have to be very careful about the wording. You have to be very careful about how you're priming people for an answer. It was really a very sophomoric question to put in there because there was no context.
I wasn't gonna write a paragraph because none of the other questions they were all just simple questions.
You shouldn't have written anything without board approval.
I got approval to write, I could put 50 questions on there.
And that would have been without board approval as well because of the
Yes,
discussion that was
because I
had.
didn't have to have board approval.
It was a motion made by the board.
And
I know that doesn't mean anything to you, but legally it actually does.
I know for your little television here, you can grandstand all you want.
This is
I'm
not
te-
grandstanding. This is about doing the right
I'm
thing.
telling you that the verbiage did not speak of just the 20 questions.
I specifically asked that question in the meeting. I
The motion-
specifically asked that question.
the
And the
motion
planning
did
commission explicitly stated that. And you just did whatever you wanted to do, as usual.
With approval
By who?
by our attorney.
Oh, the attorney has more power than the board. That's not what the law says. It's so crazy. That is not what the law says. The law says that the
Read the
board is the
law.
legislative body. We make the decision. When the board makes a motion and it was unanimously approved, that is what goes forward, not what you decide or what you talk to Justin about. What goes forward is the action of the board. It'd be nice if you had a little respect for that and for the law.
No problem.
There is a problem. One person. And hopefully he's gone.
Well, here's the original one, but either one. Here's Suburban Propane. Here's the fire department's Verizon. Visual Edge, that's the copy machine. This is for the fire department. Looks like they bought some adapter. This is the lawn mowing. This is some batteries for some lights for the fire department. Grab another one, 'cause I wrote on this one. Grab another one of these for this.
Well, we don't really need one until we pay them and then we'll turn up the new one.
'cause I'm gonna keep this one over there.
Okay. These are just for proof anyway.
Here, did you see payroll? Here's payroll. And here we go.
When are we actually gonna address that?
Oh, I don't know.
We had a workshop. We said do it online, so we did. But never got any further than the print it on.
Here's Shirley's. And here's Justin. That chair out of Melissa's.
You can sit over there.
Yeah, you should actually
Justin
sit in
doesn't
the
have to sit up
audience.
here.
No,
He's not elected, he don't have to sit up here.
he's not part of the board.
You can sit over there, yeah.
He's a resident, not part of the board.
He's not an elected official. Oh, that's a good grin on that face. This table's for the Board of Trustees, Sam.
He doesn't care.
We've sat this way a long time.
Yeah, well, it's about time maybe you got, what the people voted on.
You're fine. You move down, nobody move forward.
So thoughtful of you.
Yes.
If you were going to read the law,